Love is a powerful thing. Love in games is usually dressed up in romance, relationships, maybe even a scripted kiss or two. But that's not the love I'm talking about here. I'm talking about something deeper. A love that binds, not because of attraction, but because of a purpose. Love is the only thing we're capable of perceiving that transcends dimensions of time and space. That's what Interstellar told us. And strangely enough, that idea is echoed in one of the most misunderstood games of the last decade, Death Stranding. And ironically, Death Stranding is a game that is often joked about as being just a walking simulator. Might be one of the most profound portrayals of love in video game storytelling. When we think about what drives us forward in the bleakest of times, it's not always about hope or survival. This video is a deep dive into how Death Stranding builds its entire universe on the foundation of love. Love as a connection and love as a barrier. The game starts in a world where humanity has been cut off, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And yet, it asks us to believe that the simple act of connecting people again might be enough to save it. Death Stranding isn't just about delivery routes or these black goo monsters that you sometimes have to fight. It's a meditation on grief, on purpose, and yes, most importantly of all, love. And just a heads up, this video will contain major spoilers for tons of media if you have not watched them, including Death Stranding, The Sixth Sense, and a couple of other movies. Love is present in every quiet moment in Death Stranding. From the soft goodbye shared between Sam and Bridget in the Oval Office to the final rescue mission that closes out Death Stranding 2. Love acts as both the cause and the cure in this world. It's a love that builds nations, destroys timelines, and ultimately saves humanity, but not without great cost. What makes Death Stranding so unique is how it treats love not as a reward or a subplot, but as a fundamental mechanic of the world itself. Everything from Sam's repatriation ability to the existence of BBs stems from love. And what happens when that love is warped by grief, control, or fear of loss? This is where Death Stranding really shines, by asking, what happens when someone tries to love without truly understanding what love is? This theme reminds me a lot of Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. In one of the film's most pivotal scenes, Coop communicates with his daughter Murph across time and space. But it's not just science that connects them, it's love. Coop's unwavering connection to his daughter allows him to send a message decades into the past, a message that ultimately saves all of the life on Earth. It's absurd when you think about it. How can love cross galaxies and time loops? And yet, we believe it. Because that's what love does. It reaches beyond logic. Now let's take that lens and look back at Death Stranding. Bridget, who is the president of the United States, isn't just a political figure. She's an obsessed scientist and someone deeply obsessed with finding meaning in her purpose as being an extinction entity. Her experiments on children aren't motivated by cruelty, but by this obsession. She loses baby Sam in one of the earliest experiments connecting the beach to the real world, in an incident that honestly could have been avoided, but it ended in tragedy. And in that moment, she does something unnatural. She brings him back to life. Through her link to the beach, she grants Sam the power of repatriation, and he becomes the first person who can never truly die. That act of love, twisted by guilt and scientific ambition, becomes the foundation of the entire world. But it also breaks the world. Bridget's inability to let go of Sam fractures space, time, and death itself. In trying to hold on to what she lost, she births a world devoid of connection, filled with isolated bunkers and fragmented people where even dying doesn't mean peace. Her love creates a world without love. And this connection actually brought me back to one of my favorite movies, 500 Days of Summer. On the surface, this movie is a romantic dramedy about a man named Tom who falls in love with a woman named Summer. But beneath the quirky dialogue and the charming soundtrack lies something a lot darker. Tom doesn't fall in love with Summer. He falls in love with the idea of what having Summer means. His obsession with what could be blinds him to what is actually happening around him. He only remembers the good moments. He rewrites his memories to support the fantasy that they were meant to be together. Does this sound familiar? It's important to understand this. Bridget and Amelie are the same person. One exists in the physical world, the other a projection on the beach. Immortal, unbound by time, they're two halves of the same broken person. And through Amelie, we see the darker side of Bridget's love. Her refusal to let go, her desire to save the world by controlling it. By deciding how humanity ends, like Tom, her love becomes a cage, for herself and for others. And just like Tom's desperate attempts to rekindle something that was never truly mutual, Bridget's refusal to accept the loss sets off a chain reaction that nearly ends all life. But the beauty in both stories is what happens when the character finally decides to let go. Tom, after 500 days, finally accepts that summer was never really his destiny, and only then does he begin to heal. Sam as well reaches that moment. He walks away from the world, from Bridges, from the control that they had on his life, and in Death Stranding 2, he chooses solitude, not as a retreat, but as an act of self-preservation. He learns that love cannot be forced and that sometimes moving forward means leaving the past behind. Love, when clung on too tightly, can become something poisonous. It can freeze us in time, make us live in a memory instead of reality. But when embraced with open hands, it can also rebuild us. It can connect us to others in ways we never thought possible. With Death Stranding, Interstellar, 500 Days of Summer, they're all wildly different stories. We have sci-fi, post-apocalyptic, and then a romantic drama. But at their core, they all ask the same question. What does love mean when the world is falling apart? Is it a bridge or is it a burden? And in Death Stranding, there are two characters who honestly define this question the best: Cliff and Neil. These two characters may not get much screen time, but in many ways, they're the emotional backbone of both games. Cliff is Sam's biological father, and Neil is, I guess, Lou's stepdad at this point. I'm not exactly sure how to define him, but he has an emotional connection to Lou, and yet neither of them raised these kids. Neither of them gets to live in the world where they helped shape it, but both leave an impact that echoes across the living and the dead. Cliff's story is especially devastating. We come to understand that he wasn't just some military ghost haunting Sam's memories. He was a father trying desperately to protect his child. Sam wasn't just any baby. He was the original BB. He was Cliff's BB. A living child pulled from the pod, raised in secret, and given a second chance at life. A child who died and then was brought back. Cliff's love for Sam is what allows him to exist as something more than just a memory. Something not quite dead, but not quite a BT as well. He becomes a presence, a protector, someone whose love is so strong it breaks the boundary between life and death, just for a chance to see his son again, to help him, to save him. And what's remarkable is that Cliff's goal was never truly revenge. It was a reunion. And this can be seen from the cutscene on the beach, where Cliff has the opportunity here to kill Die Hardman and instead allows him to survive. The same energy flows through Neil in Death Stranding 2. And even though he's long gone, his connection to her never fades. Through some impossible link, some force beyond logic, he watches over her. When Lou is dying, thanks to Fragile being attacked by Higgs, it's Fragile who takes the leap and jumps her to Neil's beach. And it's there, in that liminal space between life and death, that Neil is able to comfort her and protects her. He doesn't just save her body on the beach, he saves her mind. There's something beautiful about the symmetry here from both two characters. They're both fathers, they both have these children, they both have two impossible acts of love. Both men lose everything, and yet, through love, they still give everything they have left to help their children move forward in the world. Unlike Bridget or Amelie, whose love is twisted by control, Cliff and Neil's love is purely sacrificial. They don't try to dictate fate, they don't try to reshape the world, they simply offer what little they have from beyond the grave, to give their children a chance at life. Cliff and Neil are proof that love doesn't end when life does. This type of love is one that completes the entire emotional journey. When we first meet Sam Porter Bridges, he's not a hero. He's a broken man buried under grief, guilt, and the trauma of losing both of his wife and his unborn daughter in a catastrophic void out. The Sam we meet is isolated, not just physically, but emotionally. He suffers from asphosmophobia, a fear of being touched, rooted in the depth of his emotional pain. He wears layers not just to protect himself from timefall, but to protect himself from people. He turned his back on the country, on the Bridges organization, on just simply connecting with others in itself. And so he spends his days in quiet, lonely labor, delivering packages across a shattered America. This arc, that slow reclaiming of identity and purpose, reminded me immediately of Fight Club. In Fight Club, the narrator, played by Edward Norton, lives a dull, numbing life. His day-to-day is filled with meaningless consumerism, corporate monotony, and emotional emptiness. And to cope with this, he creates an alternate persona, Tyler Durden. Tyler is charismatic, rebellious, violent, and everything the narrator just isn't. Tyler gives him the illusion of control, freedom, and meaning in life, but is built on destruction and not healing. Over time, the narrator realizes that Tyler isn't saving him, he's consuming him. He has to confront this fractured version of himself. He has to kill Tyler in order to live. It's not a battle of good versus evil. It's just a painful journey of reintegrating the parts of yourself you hate and learning how to live with them. Sam's journey is strikingly similar. His Tyler isn't a separate person. It's his detachment, his numbness, his refusal to connect. And over the course of Death Stranding, we watch him slowly confront this, not through fighting or rebellion, but through rebuilding, through delivering packages, through talking to people, through learning that vulnerability is not a weakness, but it's a bridge. The real turning point comes with Lou, the BB he gets from the first void that happens at the beginning of the game. And at first, Lou is just equipment. She's a tool. But Sam forms a bond, a connection. He begins to feel again. And by the end of the first game, we witness something extraordinary. Sam, the man who once recorded a human contact, holds Lou in his arms outside the pod. And not just holds her, he smiles. He accepts her, he loves her, and he is showing that he can embrace the world again. The act of holding Lou is more than a narrative moment. It's a culmination, a symbolic rebirth that Sam just isn't saving Lou, he's starting to save himself. But healing, as we know, is never linear. In Death Stranding 2, Sam faces another emotional collapse. While on a mission with Fragile to extend the chiral network into Mexico, his home is attacked, and when he returns, he believes Lou is dead from the attack. All the progress he made shatters. He retreats, but this time, instead of emotional numbness, he just clings to the memory of Lou. This stage of Sam's grief reminded me a lot of The Sixth Sense. In that film, Bruce Willis plays Malcolm Crowe, a child psychologist who's attacked in his home. We watch him seemingly recover and begin helping a troubled young boy who can see dead people. But the truth is, Malcolm never recovered. He died that night. And the entire movie is about his own unconscious journey toward realizing that truth. Helping the boy becomes a form of helping himself, and only by confronting his own death can he finally move on. Sam goes through something very similar. He believes Lou is still with him, trapped in her pod, unconscious but alive. What's haunting is how much everyone around him plays along with this delusion. The crew knows Lou is gone, but they let Sam believe because they see it too. How much his journey isn't about saving Lou, it's about saving Sam. And then something shifts. Little by little, he begins to let go. The adventure softens him. The crew, the travel, the emptiness, they begin to mirror his internal world. And finally, at the end of the game, Sam confronts the truth. He accepts that Lou is gone. He says goodbye, and in that goodbye, he gives her the one thing he couldn't give her before: freedom. And it's in this act of letting go that Sam becomes whole again. But Death Stranding 2 has one final surprise. Lou never died. Now she's ready, not just to live, but to join Sam, to help him, to adventure beside him. And it's poetic. The girl who helped him learn to love is not the woman helping him live. And self-love isn't about staring in the mirror and smiling. It's about forgiving yourself, holding yourself through grief, letting go of the versions of yourself that were built just to survive. And in that sense, Death Stranding isn't just a story about saving the world. The world of Death Stranding is built on love. Not love as romance, not even love as comfort, but love as a legacy, as connection, as an act of resistance in a world falling apart. Across every chapter, love is the unseen protagonist that connects them all. The thread that ties every soul together across time, across life and death, across the beaches that separate us. Without love, Death Stranding wouldn't exist. The literal events of the story, the rebirth of Sam, the haunting presence of Cliff, the survival of Lou, none of it happens without someone reaching out even beyond the grave for the sake of someone they cared about. But more than that, love saved the world. Not through weapons, not through power, but through understanding, through forgiveness and vulnerability. It's love that pulls Sam out of solitude. It's love that guides Lou through the beach. It's love that gives even the dead a reason to keep walking forward. And the most beautiful part is the story's not perfect. The love in Death Stranding is messy. It's flawed. It leads to mistakes, to obsession, to grief, but it also leads to healing, to rebirth, to something new. Just like in Interstellar, where love becomes the bridge between worlds. And just in 500 Days of Summer, where love teaches us to let go. And just like in the movies The Sixth Sense and The Fight Club, where the journey inward, the journey of self, is where the real healing begins. And in the end, Death Stranding doesn't ask us to save the world. It just asks us to be connected to it. Thanks for watching.
There's no pretending I will hold you and protect you. So let love warm you till